Welcome in once again to the hot seat, ladies and gentlemen. And when you get involved with fire, you better come prepared. And that's exactly what our guest has done today. Dr. Sal Mercogliano joins us from Bowie's Creek, North Carolina, in full gear. How are you, sir?
I'm good, Bill. I'm not in full gear. I just brought the helmet for today. I just want to be prepared for when I get into the hot seat. So I thought I'd at least bring the helmet with me.
You're definitely on point today, that is for sure. I've got 10 questions for you, sir. You ready?
I'm ready to go. Let's go ahead.
All right. First one, kind of always the same kind of question, but I want to throw it at you here anyway. In your opinion, what is the biggest problem in freight right now?
I think the biggest problem from my perspective is, once again, appreciating the role that the mariners and the ocean plays in our supply chain logistics. I think we tend to focus on it when there's a problem and when there's an issue, and then when everything is rolling and moving along, we tend to forget about it quite a bit. And that's one of my key things, is to bring that to the attention of everybody all the time.
Excellent point there. Number two, this should be easy given what's behind you there as well. What is the best book that you have ever read that has helped you in the freight or the maritime freight industry there? And I see you probably have a lot to choose from.
I do, and I'm going to go with one that I think everybody should read, because I think it's probably one of the best, and that is Mark Levinson's The Box, which talks about the development of the container and how that very seamless invention, created not by a shipping guy but by a truck driver by the name of Malcolm McLean, revolutionized the way we move freight around the world.
Excellent there. All right, so we know you've spent plenty of hours on a ship, and this is for those of us land lovers that maybe have never stepped onto a vessel. What's the best song to play on a ship on a long trip? And I'm guessing it's not the wreck of the Edmund Fitzgerald.
It's not. You really don't want to play that. I think the best song to play. I mean, the best song to play when you're going out is "Come Sail Away," I think, by Styx. But when you're coming back in, it's got to be anything associated with food and drink. So, Cheeseburger in Paradise from Buffett is always a good one, because that's a classic song of returning back to port and getting what you want.
Gotcha. Great stuff there as well. What is the worst route you have ever had to endure on a ship?
Oh, the worst voyage I ever had at all was heading down to, of all places, down into the Caribbean. We had to go between two hurricanes. And that was the first time I've ever been on a ship that took a 51-degree roll. And that was probably the worst. And we were with a batch of smaller Navy warships, and we got it better than they did. But the minute a ship goes more than 45 degrees, it's easier to stand on the wall than it is on the floor. So I think that was the worst ride I ever had. Didn't sleep, didn't get a lot of kind of sack time at all during that time. I didn't eat much either.
Gotcha. All right. So obviously you've been following everything that's been going on the West Coast right now. And of course, for the last several months, we've been going through labor talks with the ILWU. Give me your gut feeling. Obviously, earlier, late last year, we had rail go through similar negotiations. They ended up in Congress. This doesn't seem like it's going to end up there, although I could be wrong. What's your gut feeling about how this is going to end?
I actually don't think it's going to end very well here in the short term. I think we're going to have issues here, because I think labor's not in the driver's seat anymore. Now I think it's the PMA is in it, and we're already seeing some inclinations of that out of Oakland, and some shutouts and lockouts getting ready to happen. So I'm worried that since they didn't come to an agreement when everything was good for them to come to an agreement, that we may see a repeat of slowdowns as we did in 2014 and 2015. And then you're going to have the government intercede.
Mm-hmm. We know you've got a great YouTube channel on what's going on with shipping. What's the best comment you've ever gotten on your YouTube channel?
I think the best comment I get all the time is I really wish I had you as a professor. You make the most. I guess one of the best ones was, you make the most boring topic interesting, and that to me is always a good one. So I'll go with that one.
Gotcha. I love asking this question, but I'm especially like it because obviously I ask it mostly to truckers and to people who do a lot of traveling on land. But as far as on sea, what's the best meal you've ever had in a port of call not in America, or maybe not to your native southeastern area?
Oh, I was a firm advocate. Wherever you go, you eat the local food. I'm not one of those who likes to travel and eat at Pizza Hut overseas. So I love getting whatever's local. I would have to say eating probably some local dishes in Singapore, somewhere in the Far East. It was always good. And you would just get whatever they had. And I can't even tell you half the time what it was. It was always ordering what was recommended. And sometimes it's good not to know. To be clear, I think there was a time in Korea I ate some things I don't want to know what I ate. So probably better not always to ask details.
Number 8, will we see an end to the alliances at the major shipping level? And if so, how will this be broken up?
I think what you're going to see is to be on the lookout for is a split between Maersk and Mediterranean Shipping. They're in an agreement for another year or so. And they're the biggest. I mean, you're talking about 35%. They are the big behemoths. And the question is, do they keep going together because they're the big force? You're getting to the point where they're getting so big that if they get over 40% of the share, it's going to be a problem. And so they may wind up splitting to do it. And then you always have the issue of them targeting one or more groups to kind of run them out. Right now, you got 3 alliances with 9 companies spread across them. But there's always the danger of what we saw in 2016, 2017 with the Hanjin Marine being targeted and run out. But I think the big thing is to watch a split between the 2M alliance, Maersk and MSC.
I remember you saying that the only way to split them up as far as the governments would be concerned would be to design them as a cartel. But obviously, if things can happen before that, that certainly solves that problem to a degree. Number 9, what is going to be the next great piece of legislation that's going to be written for maritime law, or the next great repeal, in other words, and with regard to maritime shipping? And tell me it's not going to be the repeal of the Jones Act.
What I'm going to tell you is I hope it's a reform of the Jones Act. That's what I hope for. I hope we already saw ocean shipping get the Ocean Shipping Reform Act with international shipping. I'm hoping to see something akin to that on the domestic side and really look at a reform to that. I'm hoping that there's starting to be more and more traction to talk about this. How do we fix what's going on in not just the coastwise trade, but really U.S. maritime trade? We're seeing this with a lot of countries wanting to restart national fleets. We see more competition now in the high seas, and I think there's an awakening to that. And so I'm hoping to see something along those lines begin to take place.
Excellent there. All right, last question for you, always the same. Fill in the blank. Freight is blank.
My helmet for last question.
Okay.
Freight?
Okay, all right.
Freight is, I'm going to try to think with here. Freight is shipping. I hate to say it, but it is ocean shipping. Ocean shipping is the key for what we want to talk about. And I think one of the things that we came to realize during the supply chain, and what you all do at FreightWaves extremely well, is talk about the interlocking and interconnectivity of freight. Freight is everyday life. It is how we survive as a society. But I think the key element for me is always going to be the ocean shipping side.
Mm-hmm. Dr. Sal Mercogliano, you have proven to be flame retardant. Thanks for being on the hot seat.
That's what I aim to do. Thanks, Bill.